matter for me whether you are coming from Luapula, where I come from, that I should make you permanent secretary at State House because you are coming from a village near mine. So what if you're coming from a village near mine? Doesn't make a difference. What we need is to have the rightful people in rightful positions, not where they come from. That should come to an end. This country requires to realize that if we did not build on the strength that Dr. Kaunda left for us, one Zambia, one nation motto, it would have been difficult for us to run the affairs of this country for the last 60 years of our independence. We have run this country peacefully because our forefathers, the leaders then, Kaunda and his colleagues, insisted on meritocratic kind of governance. They insisted on knowing that once we work together, the country will develop. This trend we are seeing of insisting on just people that I know, people that are my kinsmen, people that I think will support me, people that are in my own political party, it will not work. We in the CF are saying the leadership we are bringing to this country is one that is going to bring everybody together. Even those, if we find that you were good and you were professional, even when you are in the UPND and we think you can contribute the well-being of the country, why not? Why not be part of service? We must begin learning and picking examples from other jurisdictions, other countries, even within the SADC region, how they manage the affairs of the nation. You can't have a country where Kalaba becomes president, all PSs kuya bebele, all directors kuya bebele, assistant directors they are supposed to go. You can't have a situation like that. What you need is to understand that some of these people that you are replacing have worked their way through their ranks. No, I was a civil servant, you know that. For about 10 years, I was a civil servant. And I was rising through the ranks. The first qualification to enter the sector was a bachelor's degree. I had that. That's how I entered in the civil service. So when you come in government and remove me, forgetting that the civil service is the one which employed me because of my qualifications, you are doing a disservice to the nation. Why would one even think of appointing a director? You appoint a PS, you appoint a director. We are going to do things differently. We'll allow the civil service to operate independently. It is the only way government is going to make progress. Once a civil service which acts as a secretariat to the policymakers, that's cabinet, then you are going to see that this country is going to make progress. But the moment we want to infiltrate cadres in these civil service positions, the country has gone back 10 years backwards. Because even positions where we should allow technocrats to remain there, you bring somebody because he almost died during the by-election we had some time back, so therefore we have to reward him with giving him a position in the civil service.
Wasn't that a system we saw in the last regime as well? You know, where people were being offered jobs because they showed alliance or allegiance to the political party, and if they did not, then they would not be in those positions. Do you feel something different needs to change with the way we govern moving forward? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like a system that has just been followed. And what can stop you from doing the same thing when you take over power as well? By employing people that are pledge allegiance to you.
I'm just telling you here, no, that we are going to do things differently. And we are lucky as a people because I know how the civil service works. I know the powers of the civil service. I know the limitations of the civil service. I know the powers of the executive, which is cabinet. I've been in that cabinet for 8 years. I understand who a minister should be and how a minister should behave. This behavior of saying no, but even in the past it was being done, must come to a close. A wrong in the past cannot be justified today. It remains a wrong. And that is why we want to be good students of history ourselves. We want to make sure that what was wrong in the PF and is being done in the UPND must still be condemned so that this country can begin excelling. We just can't keep on going to say no, but because they were also doing it, therefore we are also justifying it. No, because they used to bring cadres in by-elections, we also bring cadres in by-elections. The reason why Zambians vote for new leaders is because they want a new beginning. We are going to present that new beginning, that we have hated each other for too long as a people. We have fought each other on the basis of I don't like him, or this one did this to me. It is high time that the nation came first before our own self-interest. And we in the Citizens First are precisely going to push that agenda of healing the divide.
Okay. Let's quickly go into load shedding. I know as Zambians, obviously now we are used to this load shedding. We've been experiencing it for over close to a year now. It's still a persistent problem in the country. Do you think the UPND is doing enough to address this? And if voted into government, how would you address this challenge?
I think this is a very simple issue that I've always talked about. If the UPND was serious with what we have been saying as Citizens First, they would have already acted on this challenge. What we have said, no, is that currently this country or this government is exporting power to South Africa through the SADC Power Pool Agreement, 100 megawatts of power. This country is exporting about 80 megawatts of power to Namibia. We are exporting power to Malawi. We are exporting about 120 megawatts of power to the DRC Congo. How can we be exporting power when we don't have power ourselves? Why should we be doing that? And I have gone further with my colleagues in the CF. We have gone further to understand why government has continued to export power and why they don't want to stop exporting power. They are saying this is where our salaries to pay the workers is coming from, so we can't stop. Otherwise, we'll have a problem. So those same workers you are paying, what are they working when people are staying for 2 hours in load shedding? 2 hours. Only they are having power for 2 hours, and 22 hours they are being load shedded. 22 hours they are being load shedded. What I should have expected is that the president should have taken and his government should have taken this thing very seriously. But they have not. If you asked me what I would do as president, I would have flown to Namibia and told our colleagues in Namibia, because, and when they tell you that this money, we are getting it because we want to pay salaries. Zesco power is not sold like tomato on the market. They pay in advance. So the money has already been collected. But what I would have done is that I would have gone to my colleague in South Africa, Ramaphosa, and told Ramaphosa, I've got a crisis back home. Production at home has gone down. Our people are in near darkness. In fact, we are in darkness in this country. We are in darkness. And you are saying we are used. It is true. After a year, it has become normal. We even know what time power is going to come. Ironing or anything has to be done around 01 or 02, because that's when power will come. During the day, the peak times, our power is elsewhere, where they are serious with developing their countries. And here, because we want to remain stagnant, we don't need that power. And nobody's talking about that. People think that is normal. If I were a president, I would have gone to South Africa and told Ramaphosa, I said, I'm sorry, you have paid us in advance. Give us a break. Give us chance to allow power to be used by our people there. Yes, you have paid us. Consider it as a loan. For now, we have to service our people, because the more we don't give our people power, the losses that we will have as a result of lack of power will even be much more than the money that you are paying us. And it is true. The kind of businesses people have lost because of no power, when you compare with what Zesco is getting, with what when they export that same power during the day to those countries that are serious with production, you find that us keeping power, the advantages even outweigh us exporting that power. I would have curtailed the export of power in South Africa. I would have curtailed the 80 megawatts going to Namibia. I would have curtailed the selling of 120 megawatts of power going to the Congo DRC. Because when you elect me as president, you have elected me to take care of the interests of the Zambian people. You are the first people I should look at. But when you say no, because salaries, Zesco should know when they were allowing themselves to begin running all these things, because they did a projection. Remember, when PF left government, we were still having load shedding in this country. But the load shedding we were having was for 4 hours. it was scheduled load shedding because they had projected that we are going to have this crisis. And they said, instead of us having this power throughout, if we can have 4 hours of load shedding, it's going to take us into March 2025, when they anticipated there was going to be enough waters to carry them with the hydropower projects. But when the UPND came in government, what did they do? They wanted to show all of us that they can finish the power problems within a fraction, just like that. You will recall that colleagues from this studio or from this radio station were taken to the president there at his community house. And the president told them, is there anybody being load shedded now? He was playing politics without understanding the real issues that are going to affect the power sector if he took that action. My job would have been to understand what experts are telling me. And then I say, okay, if I want to run 24 hours on power, how do I come in? Well, he was talking about solar. The president was saying, if you can't use hydropower, use solar. That's what I normally use myself. That's what he was saying. Mr. Akainde Ichirema is a billionaire now. He can't fail to have solar. It's nothing to him. The people in Kalingalinga, the people in Kalikiriki, the people in Chawama, Mandevu, they can't afford solar. Where is he getting this thinking from? Has he given them money to buy solar? Has he? He has not. So why is he talking about this solar thing? No, use solar, use solar. What he should have done, and what we will do ourselves, is to make sure that apart from just the immediate term solution, is to stop the export of power. But then someone will ask you, but Harry, what's the long term of that issue? Because what you're just talking about is medium term. What's the long term? The long term is to begin diversifying the energy mix. We have to understand that hydropower is dependent on generation of water and stuff, which now we are saying we've got a drought, and yet we are still having the sun hitting us hard. We should go to an extent of telling the people bringing in solar equipment, we are going to give you serious incentives. Bring in the equipment so that you, Nono, MCC Chileshe, and myself can go to buy solar panels. We can go to buy that inverter, those batteries at a very low price, to an extent that it's affordable almost to everybody. Then you are managing that energy mix. Those are the incentives you are doing. Don't just give incentives to the mining sector. There's a problem in the energy sector. What incentives are you giving to the energy sector? Because a president or a government must be an all-rounder. They need to be all-rounders. So for us, we also understand that the people that have read the weather have told us that in the southern circuit, in the southern corridor, rains will not be so much. But in the northern corridor, there'll be a lot of rains going forward. Why don't you start building hydropower stations more in the northern circuit? Move them from the southern region slowly into the northern circuit where the rains are. Then you're going to cure that problem. Besides the issue of harvesting from the sun. But also there's geothermal, which we can use, biomass. So it's various forms of energy that we should begin feeding on to take our people out of this current quagmire. 60 years after independence, when you ask the Egyptians, they had a similar problem in 2010. In Egypt, they were going for 22 hours of load shedding like we are doing right now. But they came out of that problem. How did they come out of that problem? It is for this government to get out of their Kawambwa by-elections. You can't be concentrating on by-elections instead of dealing with the actual problems the people are facing. Go into Egypt. Understand how Egypt did that problem. When I was lands minister, I had to go to Rwanda to study the land tenure system of Rwanda. I had to go to Israel to understand the land tenure system of the Israelites. Why? Because these are about the best systems of land management that you can get. I went there to understand them. You have got Egypt that went through a similar problem. What are you doing in those offices? Instead of going to Egypt, you are busy in the by-elections in Kawambwa. We have to win this Kawambwa by-election at all costs. You should make sure you finish the energy crisis at all costs, not winning the Kawambwa by-election.
Wouldn't you want also to get an extra seat in the House if you knew that there was a by-election for your party?
But at whose expense are you doing it? At whose expense? Lives are being lost as you and I are speaking. Lives are being lost because they don't have power. Lives are being lost. Why? Because the doctor who should have used that machine could not use that machine because they didn't have adequate power. That is more serious than winning a parliamentary seat.
It's 9:45. You're listening to the Hot Seat. My guest this morning is the Citizens First President Harry Kalaba. We are going to open the phone lines right now. The number is 0974 870 877.
You're listening to the Hot Seat on Hot FM 87.7. It's time for you to call now and get involved. Call now and get involved.
Definitely it's time for you to get involved. The number is 0974 870 877. If you have any questions or comments with regards to our guests this morning, please feel free to come through. Let's see if we can get our first president, Mr. Kalaba, there. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Honorable Kalaba.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm okay.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Bernard on the line.
Thank you, sir.
My issue is very small. I'm very disappointed with the UPND government. The whole entire cabinet has gone to Kawambwa constituents to go and campaign. I don't know where our leaders are taking us. Number two, you are busy taking each other to the courts. You are taking each other to the prisons, but you forgot to say you are our leaders. What are you telling the young people? What story are you going to tell them in the 5 years from now? I know UPND government, Mr. Ichilema, will be out of office in 10 years or 15 years. But after that, again, we continue with the arresting of you, our leaders. We are not serious in Zambia. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for coming through, sir. All right, let's see if we can take maybe a set of 3 calls real quickly, and I'll give you an opportunity, obviously, to address those concerns. The number is 0974 870 877. You are listening to the Hot Seat, and this morning we have Citizens First President Harry Kalaba. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Howard.
Fine. Who are we speaking to?
My name is Richard.
All right, go ahead with your comment, contribution, or question.
Good morning, President.
Good morning, sir.
Just a quick one. What is your take? Because we've noticed that the Socialist Party is one of the political parties that is doing so well, just like you. Do you have any plan with forming an alliance? And when do you expect that this is going to happen? Thank you.
All right, thanks so much for coming through. Let's take another call, then I'll give you an opportunity, obviously, to quickly address those, and then we'll take another set of 3 calls. The number is 0974 870 877. That is the number that you can call us on. You are listening to the Hot Seat. And like I said, our guest is the First Citizens President, Harry Kalaba. All right, we go. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, President Kalaba.
Good morning, sir.
Mr. Zulu here. Me, it's a recommendation. I've been following you for the longest time. When you were still minister, up to now, as you opened your own political party, sir, you are talking for us. Don't feel relent. Don't even rest. 2026, we are changing everything. We want sober people minded to actually lead this nation. Not people coming with vengeance. Now. For some of us who are even victims of people who are kidnapped, kept for 3 days and released and not even charged, not even asked for. You tell us them, your own country will fuck up a report order that you should be reporting yourself. So, sir, please, we are behind you.
Thank you.
I'm a very happy young man who at least I know I've got a brother who you brought closer in the name of Max. Someone who can talk for us, the youths. Continue that way, sir. Just know that us, the youths, were behind you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much for coming through. Okay, that looked more like a compliment. Let's see if I can get another call, and then I will give you an opportunity, obviously, to address those concerns. The number is 0974 870 877. Hello, good morning. Okay, I think your radio is on. Could you just switch it off and then speak to us clearly? Hello?
you very much. This is Mr. Matthews speaking.
Much better. Mr. Matthews, welcome to the program.
Yes.